What's the funniest reason you got banned somewhere? I got permanently banned from a natural history museum for accidentally breaking a fossil. I went to the museum on a random Saturday because my date canceled, and I didn't want to waste my good outfit. Plus, they had a new dinosaur exhibit, and I figured looking at dead things might make me feel better about my love life. The place was packed with families and school groups, but I just wanted to see some bones in peace without having to drop my pants. Everything started when I got to the fossil touching station. They had this whole setup where kids could handle real fossils with supervision. The sign said adults welcome too, so I walked over to check it out. There was this piece of what looked like dinosaur poop sitting on a velvet cushion. The volunteer lady smiled and said I could pick it up if I wanted. I reached for it carefully because even though it was meant to be touched, I didn't want to be that guy who breaks something in a museum. But the thing was heavier than it looked and kind of slippery. As soon as I lifted it, the fossil started sliding through my fingers like a bar of soap in the shower. Time slowed down as I watched this ancient dinosaur turd tumble toward the floor. I tried to catch it, but that just made things worse. My hand knocked it sideways and it hit the edge of the display table before crashing onto the tile floor. The sound it made was somewhere between a crack and a crunch, like stepping on a really expensive potato chip. The volunteer's face went from friendly to horrified in about half a second. She started making these high-pitched noises that weren't quite words. Kids around me backed away like I'd just committed murder. One little girl pointed at me and loudly announced to her mom that the bad man broke the dinosaur poop. Within 30 seconds, 3 different museum employees surrounded me. They were all wearing those official blazers and had walkie-talkies crackling on their belts. The head guy was this tall dude with a mustache who looked like he took his job way too seriously. He bent down and examined the fossil pieces like he was investigating a crime scene. "Sir, do you realize what you've done?" he asked in this dramatic whisper. I tried to explain that it was an accident and offered to pay for it, but he just shook his head. Another employee was already taking photos of the broken pieces from different angles. The volunteer lady kept fanning herself with a museum brochure and muttering about protocols and incident reports. They made me follow them to a back office while other staff members roped off the fossil station with yellow tape, actual tape, like it was a real crime scene. Parents were pulling their kids away and whispering about the man who destroyed history. I heard one dad tell his son that some people just don't respect science. In the office, they had me fill out a form that was apparently designed for this exact situation. There were boxes for type of damage and estimated historical value lost. The mustache guy stood behind me the whole time, tapping his pen against his clipboard. When I got to the part about describing what happened, I wrote, "Fossil slipped from hands due to unexpected weight." He read it over my shoulder and scoffed. "Unexpected weight? These are priceless artifacts, sir. You should have been more careful." They kept me in that office for 45 minutes while they assessed the situation. I could hear them on their radios using codes like Code 7 in the Mesozoic section and "Subject is still in custody." Subject, like I was some kind of fossil terrorist. Finally, the museum director came in. She was this tiny woman in a power suit who somehow managed to look down at me even though I was taller. She had a folder with printouts and photos of the broken fossil. She spread them across the desk like evidence in a courtroom. "This coprolite specimen was part of our hands-on education collection," she said in the same tone you'd use to talk about a deceased relative. I apologized again and asked how much it would cost to replace it. That's when things got weird. She exchanged looks with mustache guy and cleared her throat. "Well, technically this particular specimen was a high-quality replica. The real fossils are kept in storage, but that's not the point. You've disrupted our educational programming and traumatized several children. A replica. I got security escorted out of a museum for breaking a fake dinosaur turd. They took my photo at the exit and added me to some kind of banned visitor database. The security guard actually said, 'You're no longer welcome at any of our affiliated institutions,' like he was exiling me from the science kingdom. As I walked to my car, I passed a gift shop window displaying replica fossils for $30 each, including the exact same type of coprolite I'd just been criminally investigated for dropping. I thought about buying one just to prove a point, but decided that might count as threatening behavior.